The first time I noticed him, it was the beginning of my sophomore year at college. I was rushing to my early morning class, juggling a coffee and my textbooks, when I felt eyes on me. I glanced around and saw a man standing by the student center, staring. He was older, probably in his 40s, with unkempt hair and a worn-out coat. His eyes were dark and intense, following my every move. I shrugged it off as just another weirdo and hurried to class. Days turned into weeks, and I saw him everywhere. Outside my dorm, at the library, even in the dining hall. He never approached me, just watched from a distance. I told my friends about it, and they laughed it off, saying I was being paranoid. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. One evening, I was walking back to my dorm after a late study session. The campus was nearly deserted, and the streetlights cast eerie shadows on the pavement. I heard footsteps behind me and quickened my pace. The footsteps grew louder, matching my speed. I glanced over my shoulder and saw him again, the same intense eyes boring into me. Fear tightened my chest, and I broke into a run. I could hear him running too, his footsteps echoing in the empty night. I reached my dorm and fumbled with my key, my hands shaking. Finally, I got the door open and slammed it shut behind me, locking it quickly. My heart was pounding, and I sank to the floor, trying to catch my breath. I reported the incident to campus security the next day. They took my statement but seemed unconcerned, suggesting it was probably just someone from the nearby town. "We'll keep an eye out," they said. But their lack of urgency only made me more anxious. Days passed without any sign of him, and I started to relax, thinking maybe it was over. Then, one night, I woke up to the sound of tapping on my window. I lived on the ground floor, and my blinds were closed. The tapping was insistent, almost rhythmic. My heart raced as I sat up in bed, straining to hear. I mustered the courage to peek through the blinds, and there he was, standing right outside my window, his face inches from the glass. His eyes were wild, and he grinned when he saw me. I screamed and stumbled back, knocking over a lamp. My roommate Jenna woke up and turned on the lights, panicking when she saw my terrified face. We called campus security again, but by the time they arrived, he was gone. They found no sign of him outside my window, just a few scuffed marks in the dirt. "We'll increase patrols," they promised, but I could see the doubt in their eyes. I started carrying pepper spray and avoided going out alone. My grades suffered because I couldn't concentrate, always looking over my shoulder, expecting to see those haunting eyes. My friends grew worried, urging me to talk to a counselor, but I knew it wouldn't help. I needed this man to be caught. One night, Jenna suggested we set up a camera in our room, hoping to catch him on tape if he returned. We borrowed a small camera from a friend and set it up facing the window. That night, I barely slept, every creak and rustle making me jump. The next morning, we checked the footage. Around 3 a.m., the camera captured him standing outside, staring through the window, his face twisted in a sinister smile. He stayed for nearly an hour before disappearing into the darkness. We took the footage to campus security, who finally seemed to take it seriously. They contacted the local police, and a formal investigation began. Weeks passed, and I saw no sign of him. Slowly, I started to feel safe again, but the memory of his face haunted me. Then, one evening, I received a call from the police. They had arrested a man matching the description, found hiding in an abandoned building near campus. He had a history of stalking and was wanted in several states. They assured me I was safe now. Relief washed over me, but it was tainted with the lingering fear of those dark, intense eyes. Even though he was behind bars, I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still watching, waiting. The nightmares persisted, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face, grinning at me from the shadows.
I've always loved the ocean ever since I was a kid. The vastness of it, the mystery, the sense of another world hidden beneath the waves. That's why I became a scuba diver. Every dive was an adventure, a chance to explore the unknown. But there's one dive I'll never forget, one that haunts me to this day. It was a sunny morning, and the water was unusually calm. I was part of a small group heading out to a new dive spot off the coast, rumored to have some of the most beautiful coral reefs in the area. Our dive master, Jack, was experienced and reassuring, making jokes as we suited up and checked our gear. We descended into the clear blue, the sunlight filtering down in shimmering rays. The reef was everything I'd hoped for, teeming with vibrant fish and colorful corals. I was in awe, drifting along and taking it all in. But as we ventured deeper, the water grew darker, the sunlight barely penetrating. At around 100 feet, we came across a cavernous opening in the reef, an underwater cave that Jack had mentioned. He signaled for us to follow, and we cautiously entered. The cave walls were covered in strange, bioluminescent algae that glowed an eerie green, illuminating the way. We swam deeper into the cave, the entrance shrinking to a distant point of light behind us. The silence was profound, broken only by the sound of our breathing and the occasional scrape of fins against rock. I felt a growing sense of unease but pushed it aside, focusing on the wonders around me. Then the tunnel opened up into a vast chamber, the water a murky black. The glow of the algae barely penetrated the gloom. Jack motioned for us to spread out and explore, but to stay within sight of each other. I moved cautiously, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. That's when I saw it. A flash of movement at the edge of my vision. I turned, but there was nothing. My pulse quickened, and I tried to calm myself, blaming it on a fish or my imagination. But then I saw it again, closer this time. A shadow moving just beyond the reach of my light. I turned to signal to Jack, but he was focused on something else, his back to me. I swam toward him, feeling the weight of the darkness pressing in. Suddenly, something brushed against my leg. I froze, shining my light down, but saw nothing. Panic started to set in, and I kicked hard, trying to get back to the group. Before I could reach them, I felt a strong grip around my ankle, pulling me down. I screamed into my regulator, thrashing and kicking. My flashlight fell from my hand, spinning slowly into the abyss. The grip tightened, dragging me deeper into the darkness. I managed to grab a rock on the cave floor, holding on with all my strength. I looked down, and through the gloom, I saw it. A pale humanoid figure, its eyes wide and empty, mouth opening and closing as if silently screaming. Its bony fingers clutched my ankle, its face twisted in a grotesque expression. I kicked at it with my free leg, desperate to break free. Finally, my fin connected with its face, and the grip loosened. I scrambled up, kicking hard, my lungs burning as I fought the urge to scream again. I reached the rest of the group, grabbing Jack's arm and pointing frantically toward the darkness. He turned, his eyes widening as he saw the fear in mine. He signaled to the others, and we began our ascent, moving as quickly as we could without risking decompression sickness. I glanced down once more, but the figure was gone, the darkness swallowing it whole. We broke the surface, gasping for air, the bright sunlight blinding after the depths of the cave. I tore off my mask and regulator, shaking uncontrollably. Jack asked what happened, but I couldn't find the words. I just shook my head, pointing to the cave below. We never went back to that spot, and I haven't been able to dive since. The memory of that pale figure, its empty eyes and grasping hands, haunts me. I don't know what it was, or if it was real, but I can still feel its cold grip around my ankle, dragging me into the dark. Follow for more spine-tingling content. Drop a like to show your fear-loving spirit, and share the frights with friends.